Good evening and welcome to episode 8 of the Above Average Joe's podcast. And we're going out live tonight with, I'm Kyle and this is Heath as always. And today we got a special guest all the way from the YQR. Which area? North, south?
Gotta be north.
North Ender. North of Dudney.
An NOD dude.
Oh.
Another Kyle, so Heath's stuck between a couple Kyles. This is,
Two goalies to boot.
Kyle Lakness.
Okay.
Everybody.
Thanks for having me. I mean, eight episodes in. I mean, Average Joe's podcast. I mean, I thought I'd probably be in the first two. You know, I mean, get you guys some clout on the internet.
Some kinks to work out.
Yeah, and we
needed to make sure we could find a wide angle lens for you.
You were the least expensive celebrity we could find.
I see.
Yeah, in our price range. All good.
All right. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about some NHL, some Kassian Tkachuk, the Battle of Alberta. Was it all you'd hoped it would be? And maybe some early cup predictions. What else?
Then we're going to talk, obviously, NFL Super Bowl analysis. How super was it? How good of a game was it compared to maybe some of the ones in the past? And a few of the next moves for the two teams that were participating in that. A couple other NFL tidbits too.
And then we're going to move on to the Riders. Some free agency talk, some guys who signed, and maybe who they should target.
Yeah. Some interesting things are going on with this new legal tampering period. But anyway, yeah. NHL, Kassian Tkachuk. I got a Flame fan right here, Oiler fan right here, Flame fan in the bunker, and me, who's a bit of a closet Oiler fan. So we're pretty divided.
You're a closet
here.
Something.
Yeah,
wow, easy. I can't even say the most innocent word, and I just get jumped on. At least I didn't turtle like a Tkachuk.
Whoa. Let's.
So how do you guys feel about Tkachuk and Kassian, and Tkachuk saying he fought him because he felt he needed to in order to show that he can stick up for himself? You know, do you buy it?
He never needed to fight him. He never needed to fight him.
He didn't need to fight him?
No.
Who was going to fight him?
He was like, well, hey, if you really want this bad, let's get it over with, right?
Well, there's a little bit of a code, and basically if you're going to run your mouth, you got to back it up at a certain point. So I think he felt maybe a little pressure to do so, to back it up a little bit, but there was a lot of talk after the incident from a couple of Flames that they weren't going to maybe let him get his lunch handed to him, so to speak. They were going to jump in. They're going to help him. They got his back, right? So,
well, they're a tight-knit team, right? So you look at Calgary, and they go out and party like the best of them. And they're on the road. They're all going out to bars. They're all having a good time. They're a tight team. They're going to stick up for him.
But isn't that every team?
Well, it's not, but you're talking about one team, the best team, Calgary, right?
Oh, easy.
Homer
Horn.
With Tkachuk, he's the new rat. So Brad Marchand, give or take, would probably been the rat for the last 2 or 3 years.
Or decade.
Decade.
Yeah.
I think Tkachuk's taken over. Same type of skill level, a little bit bigger, can probably handle himself a bit more. So you think, he should have to fight. Why? He's putting the puck in the net. They went on the power play. They won the game before. He shouldn't have had to fight. You know what? He's a tough boy.
Not that game.
No, he comes in the next game.
I like the way you argue that.
First face-off, boom, I'm slashing him out. Let's fucking go. Didn't want to go. Kassian wanted to think about it. So I don't think it was
Kassian didn't want to think about it. Kassian knows he wants to fight him and said he wants to fight him. He even called him a pussy. So I'm pretty sure he didn't have to think about it. Kassian wanted to do it. He wanted to make the kid wait.
Yeah, which it's like, okay, fair enough.
It can be a bit of a mind game, making a guy wait.
Yeah, I mean,
you hear some ex-old, enforcers talk about the fact that they know they have to fight a certain guy that night, and it bothers them all day.
I still stand by that Tkachuk won the mind game in that one. Because he made Kassian snap.
Kassian was the cat, and cats don't worry about
right?
kittens. When it comes to scrappers, Kassian's not worrying about Tkachuk.
No.
There's nothing to worry about.
Well, no, but he was in his head. He was absolutely in his head.
How?
Oh, Tkachuk was in the whole team's head.
He's only in their head for the simple reason that they got to watch their back, because when he's on the ice, weird shit happens.
Yeah, he either scores or hits you
from behind.
From behind or
blind side.
That's what wasn't a penalty, wasn't a suspension.
It's a lateral hit and they want him out of the game. Either way, Tkachuk knew damn well at a certain point he was going to have to, in one of those two games, deal with Kassian. He wasn't going to avoid him for 120 minutes of hockey.
No, absolutely.
So at a certain point, Kassian either catches up to him in a bad way or he just turns and squares up and faces the music, which essentially he did do.
I mean, the worst part about that is I don't think he had any trepidation of fighting Kassian. It's the fact that
he knew he had to. It was
going
unavoidable.
He's going off for 5 minutes. Cassian's going off for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody's going to agree that that's a fair trade-off.
No.
So you know what? In the first period, okay, let's go.
But you can't just run around being a rat.
Why, Marchand?
And not have to deal with the cat.
Why?
Why? Because there's honor in the game.
You have to pay the piper.
Do you though?
There's honor in the game.
Hey, you know what? If you're gonna get me W's, I don't fucking care what you're doing out there.
But it'll catch you.
Who cares?
You don't care.
He's getting $7 million a year to do it.
But here's the flip side, Kyle, and this is where the whole thing escalates. If Tkachuk doesn't go to Kassian and say, okay, I got to take care of this, Kassian's going to turn around and he's going to pull the same shit on Johnny Gaudreau. He will. And they will.
Yeah, well, I don't think they
Ask
will.
a guy like Bergeron how often he gets targeted because Marchand won't deal with things.
I'm going to say not very much, actually, just because of the respect level.
Well, why? Because of Chara on the blue line, probably. But I mean, on in the totality of the game, you can't just run around and pull crap and not think at some point if you don't deal with it, it's not going to trickle over to your teammates.
I agree. As myself, it's like I would have liked to see them fight right away, just get it over with. That's kind of the player I am. But at the end of the day, they got a power play. They scored. Mm-hmm. Why does he have to fight?
He doesn't have to fight in that game.
The next game, he comes back. He wants to fight right away. So other than the media blowing it out of proportion, saying, oh, Tkachuk this, Tkachuk that, he did exactly what you'd expect as a hockey player.
Well, there was a lot of former players and a lot of current players that said he needs to go out and answer the bell.
And how many Twitter followers do they have? Or how many Twitter followers do they want to get? Trying to get some... people
they are asking guys who don't even have Twitter accounts.
Well, that's the thing. But it's like they're in the media now. I'm going to talk.
Is Mark Messier even on Twitter?
Well, no.
But there's old school guys like that who know the code and know that at a certain point you got to answer for it. And I applaud Tkachuk for eventually answering for it.
But he didn't have to answer that game. He immediately wanted
I'm not
to
saying he did.
Next,
I'm not saying he did.
So he did everything
the next
right.
game or one of the next games.
Yeah. Did it, in my mind, he did it right.
To me, that shows a really high hockey IQ.
Exactly.
So
Calgary Flames, high IQ, hashtag Calgary.
All around. Right
Flamers.
From Big Save
You
Dave
Flamers. And do you think Tkachuk was told by his dressing room that he had to take care of it himself?
I don't think they had to tell him.
There was a lot of guys in that dressing room, Lucic being one of them, that said, well, we're not going to let him just get after Tkachuk. We'll look after him. Well, Tkachuk did end up going out there and looking after things himself at a certain point. No, Is that not his dressing room saying, no, I think you better take care of this one? It's not that we don't love you, but maybe you got to take care of this one.
To me, I don't think he needed to be told. He knew what he had to do.
Well, I would hope not, with a brother in a Senator's uniform and a dad who played as long as he did in the show. I don't think you should have to spell the code out on a speak and spell for him.
Exactly. So what
Even
he
though
did
most Flames need a speak and spell to get on their Twitter.
Well, we're all talking about Calgary here.
Okay. That being said, though, do you feel like the hit on McDavid was dirty? And do you think that just escalated the situation? Like, it kind of seemed like it calmed down to me, and then McDavid took it what he thought in the knee and thought it was a dirty hit. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was just a hip check.
I didn't think it was dirty.
He didn't change where his blades were touching the ice to get in his lane, and he was sideways, so to me it looked more like a hip check, maybe gone a little off. So, that being said, but McDavid's pissed at the end of a game. The whole Oilers bench knows about it.
I don't think that hit is dirty. I think it's just unfortunate. It looks really bad. But, I don't think Giordano's going out there to hurt McDavid. I just don't think he's that type of player. Does it look bad, and does it look like it's his knee? And after you watch that thing on Sportsnet, you're like, okay, holy
that
shit,
definitely
right?
would change things.
Totally.
Right?
And as a guy who's had a lot of knee injuries from various sports like I have, when someone is even in and around your legs, you're very aware and you're very protective. So even if there is an intent, you're still pissed off because it's like, I know what it's like to deal with the pain and the rehab and the bullshit of dealing with a leg injury. If McDavid doesn't have his legs, what is he?
Well, exactly. I don't think if he got hurt before, he reacts that way. I think it's just a reaction to going, holy shit, I might have to go through this again, and he doesn't want to do that.
No.
But you're saying, did that escalate it? No, that didn't escalate it.
But him ending the game pissed off doesn't help.
Riddick escalates it.
Oh,
with his
yeah.
stick toss.
See, and
that
Matty
led to
likes
Saturday
the
night going
segue.
crazy because he's like, okay, I made one save in the shootout. The rest were 2 posts. I throw my stick like I won the Stanley Cup, and it's like, they're not going to come back and be rattled next game?
Well, and that's what Draisaitl said afterwards, after the second game. He said is when Rittich did the stick flip in the shootout, he goes, it's somehow like they're celebrating like they won the Stanley Cup, right? And we hit 2 posts. And he's, stick flipping like that. Like, Matty said himself last episode that he liked the stick flip. I like guys with a little bit of confidence, a little bit of swagger, but when you rub it in the nose of the other team, they don't forget. Oh. And then unfortunately, you had him in 2 days.
I loved it.
I think that second score was directly a result of that.
100%. I love that play live. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. He's cheering, he's celebrating. I was actually watching the game with a buddy. It just adds to it. We're like, oh yeah, look at that. That's awesome. But if you don't think those guys are going into the dressing room going, did you see what he did when he won?
That some bitch is going to get it when we give it to him.
People get pissed off at stuff like that.
And I mean, I like the fact that he flipped his stick from the pure entertainment standpoint. It's entertaining. Mm-hmm. It's cool. These guys have some personality, and I think that's what's missing in hockey is a little bit more personality. Tkachuk being the type of kid that he is and the way he plays, it adds a certain conversation point to a lot of games that isn't there in the middle of the winter. So,
well, let's just take a time out for a second and think about this. So, in the last couple of years, do you remember a regular season game that had this much excitement,
this much animosity,
and it all had to do with like being
not at all.
fighting and hitting.
Oh yeah,
they're trying to
like
get fighting and hitting out of the game. Yeah, right. This was the most exciting game in the last 2 years for regular season that I can remember.
If you get fighting out of the game, who are you trying to sell it to? Part-timers.
Snowflakes.
Yes.
Well, the Zamboni's out there to pick up snowflakes. We don't need those people.
No.
Right? No. But any hockey person, any blue-blooded Canadian kid or, northern USA type kid, they get it. What's the number one growing sport in all of pro sports? The UFC.
Actually, that's a lie. It's pickleball.
Pickleball? Okay.
Good.
At the
timeout tidbit.
At the Southie Legion, just picking up big time. Is there money games?
Oh, I mean, it's a sport. There's got to be money.
Man, I got to go hustle some 75-year-olds.
There's certain to be betting.
With your knees, I don't think you can handle it.
I could handle it. I can handle it. Shit.
He does a lot on his
I got more range in a wheelchair or a walker.
That's true.
Right? So there you go. But
ski pulling with reach.
My point is, though, with the UFC is that blood sells, right? Being pissed off at somebody sells. Rivalry sells, right? So a guy like even McGregor, he talks a lot of shit, but it's a guy with personality who's selling the sport, selling a fight, selling a rivalry. People tune in. So having a guy like Kassian come out and call a guy like Tkachuk a pussy, it sells.
Absolutely does.
Right? And, the throwback to the old Oilers days and the old Flames days in the 80s when they did not like each other, people tuned in. When did you tune into a hockey game that started at 9 o'clock at night on a Wednesday and watch the whole thing? I did this week.
1998.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing.
And who doesn't want to see these two teams in a 7-game series?
Exactly. And they used to have a rivalry with the Jets way back in the day. That was a little of animosity. Having a Kings and San Jose rivalry would be good for hockey. Like, who didn't like the Colorado Detroit Red Wing days when they were going after each other?
Maybe Chris Drape.
Well, but I mean, it was good hockey, and they played like there was something more on the line than a trophy, right? So when guys start playing for pride, it makes entertainment that much better. So I don't know, the fact that German Gretzky said it was disrespectful, the stick flip. I mean,
Win the game.
well,
Win the
and
game.
if it wasn't for the brawl, like Rittich got yanked after 4 goals,
Yeah.
right? 2 more go in, brawl. Rittich goes back in, lets 2 more in.
So Oilers didn't care if they lost the game. They were going to score 20 goals.
Yeah. Because that kid pissed me off.
Yep, exactly.
It's kind of like when I play games against you.
With your
I
yellow visor.
almost always score.
Hey, I'm a W goalie.
Yeah. I looked up your GAA, by the way.
It's pretty high.
4.99.
Oh, nice.
0.99. You're
As long as
one
you're
game
scoring
against
6
me
goals
away
a
from
game,
5.
you're fine.
Hey, Gretz, baby. Respect.
You cover the puck yet? How long do I have to hold these guys off? Huh?
Hey, it's tough to find that biscuit. You know, like I can't see underneath this stump.
Yeah. Check one of your chins. Here it is. Got it. I wore his gear once actually at a rec tournament, and holy crap. I don't know how you goalies do it. Nothing fits like hockey equipment.
Special skill,
There isn't
buddy.
anything conventional, like fitting wise, versus regular player equipment. Like nothing. Not even the goddamn helmet.
Yeah, but look at my head.
Oh, I know. I could spin that thing right around. It wouldn't have mattered. But still, it feels weird. It feels so weird. Even pants, you'd think, okay, I wear pants. You wear pants. Totally different pants. It feels weird.
You wonder why my pants are bigger than your pants?
Fuck that.
Wow.
That was the one thing I could not wear. I had to wear my own jock. They're like, it's not a goalie jock. I don't care. I have 3 kids. I don't care. Don't care.
You need that
I'll
cup.
pop a fucking nut, but we're not. Nope. No.
When you spend $100 on your custom fit small, I understand why you'd want to wear it.
My custom fit small. I got to do crossovers, buddy. That's why. Anyway,
What are we on to now?
I
Did
think
you
we
guys
can
see
agree,
the-
though, that Calgary Edmonton is probably some of the best hockey we've seen in a while.
it is, and
What's up
it's
with
probably
Lucic,
not
though?
over for the year to some degree. Seeing as we have 2 Flamers in the house, I'd like to ask you a question as to what's wrong with Milan Lucic. All these fights, all this shit goes down. He didn't hit a guy.
To me, it's
Never
such
mind fight. What good is he?
But I mean, you can't jump the bench and go and
No,
fight
but I mean,
somebody. You're
he
gonna get
was on the
suspended.
ice a number of times.
Yeah,
Didn't
but-
even try to get anything going.
Yeah, but the last time he punched somebody, he got suspended 2 games.
Oh, Kassian did it. Don't be a pussy. Take your 2 games. How do you pay a guy $6 million to be big and strong and intimidating, and he goes out there and paws at stuff like a kitten?
Well, you got to ask Edmonton that.
Like, what's wrong with him? You guys watch more Flames games than I do.
Well, nothing happened when he was on the ice, right?
Nothing was happening until maybe you go over and say, hey, you, me, what do you think?
I'd say no.
Tkachuk did.
I don't want to fight you. That's all you can.
Okay.
So, I don't know. It's a
It's
lot of
just
money.
surprising in 3 games how the biggest, meanest thing on the Flames doesn't hurt anything, doesn't touch anything.
But he's bringing out his
involved in anything.
offensive prowess.
His offensive prowess.
And nice hair, too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Blonde hair. It's nice.
These frosted tips.
Yeah, I know.
His game is from 98 and his hair.
I mean, he probably couldn't skate to the corner fast enough to get involved.
Well, the only place he should be is in the corner.
Or in front of
Does he
the
think
net.
he's Brett Hull, just loop the middle dot?
I know. I wouldn't say any of this to his face, though.
I might.
You wouldn't.
I'm that crazy.
I'm not.
He is that crazy.
crazy. Yes, you are.
I just, not.
You suck, you jackass.
Yeah, there it is. I don't know. I just watch Luch out there, and it's like, okay, shit's going sideways. It's a rivalry game. You would think he's at least taken a few runs at a few guys to knock them into the wall and let them know that this isn't going to be an easy game. Didn't even do that.
Edmonton's fast, though. That's the problem.
James Neal? Zach Kassian?
He's not up against those guys. So
Yeah,
that's
but I mean, at
first-line
some
guys.
point,
Win, though, like when he's trying to catch them.
he couldn't hit Darnell Nurse, Clefbaum. There's a number of D. Ethan Bear. He's out there at some point against some of those guys.
Yeah, you're right, but I don't know if it's just...
Say it again.
You're right. It's tough to say.
It is.
Did you hear me stutter there?
Yeah. I don't know. I just watch him, and it's like, I don't know what $6 million buys you, but it shouldn't be a shell of a hockey player. I could have walked around out there and done nothing. Pretended the puck was a hot potato.
I think it's just tough, though, because he already got suspended this year for being aggressive, and now they're like, okay, you go out and do that. Are you going to get a 6-game suspension or an 8-game suspension? I think it's just difficult for him to go and be an asshole out there because they've already punished him for it.
His job is to be an asshole.
Yeah, but the league said you can't do it that way. You have to do it
Then
naturally.
retire.
He wasn't on the ice.
It's the league's fault.
Yeah, it's the league's fault.
Yeah, it is. Fucking Bettman. Actually, I'll never chirp Bettman again because I got to watch an NHL game in Regina regular season. So I have to stop chirping.
And who wasn't playing? See, there you go. I opened it up. You can chirp him again.
Yeah, fair enough. Are you
Holy.
okay?
I am like, whatever. Malfunctioning at the junction here. Anyway, we'll move on from that. That was interesting, and I really hope that there's more rivalries to come, and they promote them. I didn't like the what's his name? Who's the discipline czar? I always want to say George Soros.
George Peros.
George Soros.
No, but the one thing that I will say
Who's
about
controlling the NHL? George Soros.
this is that leading the new playoff format, that which some people do or don't like, this is at least going to make it happen either in the first or second round.
Yeah.
Right? Which
Yeah.
is what we want. So, I mean, I'll give him credit on that. These rivalries are...
But why is he there in the stands watching, monitoring the situation? Rivalries are good for hockey.
Because it's the way for
Why
the
do you
NHL
need the discipline guy there?
To me, that's marketing. Because they're going to go, oh, this game's going to be crazy. He's got to be there. They're selling it without selling it.
Couldn't Colin Campbell, when he was the discipline guy years ago, couldn't he have just followed Ty Domi and Bob Probert?
Well, yeah, but back then it wasn't a big deal.
Get smacked in the mouth if you don't keep it down.
Easy, Matty. Easy. But I mean, really, they're out there just doing their job. Kassian's out there doing his job. Tkachuk's taking care of what he has to take care of. Why do you need the disciplines are there? What's he going to do?
No, you don't. And that's why nothing came of it, because it was handled.
Then
handled the right way.
Yeah, and they saw them all get on the plane, go home, and then game 2, shit hits the fan. And we all loved it.
I mean, that goalie fight was awesome.
It was.
It was.
Like,
That's like a chick fight.
I'm on stage and I'm watching the TVs as I'm playing, watching the goalies circle each other. It's like old school, man.
It's awesome.
the best part about that is Nurse going, get out there. And
saw
then
that.
Talbot skates out there. He's like, I'm going to get my ass kicked. Like,
But is Talbot going to stay there and fight Nurse if he doesn't
No.
go? It's like, fucking right, I'm going.
because Smith is a beast. Like, he's 6'2",
Oh, he's a big-
he's
he's a big
jacked.
kid.
Like, and he looked good, actually.
Yeah, he did all right. But it's like a chick fight. Next goalie fight, they need to bring out a big bathtub full of Jell-O. Pretty much the same shit, man. They're
No,
not good
it's
fighters.
like
I
ice
don't
dance.
know if I'll say
They're not
right on
good
that one.
fighters.
Well, no, look at that, all the shit
Like
they're
chicks. Not good fighters.
wearing. I still thought it
But
was
everybody
awesome.
watches.
That's the thing. They're like, oh,
No one wants
NHL's,
that broke up.
NHL's getting away from
It was the
fighting.
most excited I was about hockey
Yeah.
in a long time.
I don't want to see like 3 fights, 4 fights a game. That's not what I'm saying when I like fighting. And I'm pretty sure you guys are the same. But it's like, you know what? A good Donnybrook every game or two is not
For
a bad
a reason.
For
Yes.
exactly for a
For
good
a reason. Like
Yeah.
somebody tried to take one of your players' heads off.
Yes.
Then there needs to be consequences.
Yeah, he took a run at my star.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Or I just don't like you.
Sure.
We didn't like each other in junior, and now we're in the pros, and we're just going to keep going on
And you
this.
slept with my girlfriend.
Yeah,
and
if you're Sean Avery and everybody wanted to fight you.
Well, there's a guy who probably should have stood up and took care of it.
Yeah.
Well, being a weasel got him maybe a shorter career than he needed to have. Anyway, let's move on to... Did you guys see the Coyotes had some recruiting violations? Did you see that at all?
No.
No?
I did,
They're-
but I don't really understand it.
They're working out draft-eligible prospects prior to the draft combine, which is a $250K fine per violation. Why are you working guys out before they go to the combine to work out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
that
go
seems
to the
weird.
fucking combine. Like, that just seems so... Like, unless they draft them, the person isn't going to be like, oh, I'm going to go play for Phoenix because they worked me out. Like, no.
I don't understand why you would work a guy out before they get them all together and work them out.
Yeah.
And at $250K per violation, like if they went out and worked out 20 guys, Jesus Christ.
It's $5 million.
That's a couple hot dogs for Phil
That's a
Kessel.
couple of hot dogs. Phil Kessel can like live like a king.
Yeah.
I just
I don't
don't
get it.
understand it. I saw it. I'm like, that's fucked up. Who does this? Arizona. And then they wonder why they can't get off the mat. Hey, why the team sucks.
Well, now they're talking
Who's-
about trading
who's
Taylor
running
Hall.
the-
Like, I mean, that's media spinning it, but you're going to trade for Hall and then you're going to trade him? Like, come on.
If you can get a bigger haul than you paid for him, maybe, but
A bigger haul.
No pun intended.
no pun intended. No. Maybe he'll come back to Edmonton. Dream on, Oiler fans. That ship sailed.
We don't want him.
Plus,
Yeah.
you have German Gretzky. What more do you want?
I mean, you got Zach Kassian, right?
Yeah, exactly. And his 13 goals. His 4-year deal.
Wouldn't fight me last year. Why won't he fight me now? I got 13 goals. That was a pretty good line, actually.
It's not too bad. And he got a 4-year deal in the meantime.
He did get some money. He got paid.
So, yeah.
So it all worked out for him.
Yeah.
I think he
Can afford to
thinking
buy his teeth again, but I wouldn't buy teeth if I was him till I was done.
him and Matty Tkachuk were probably going for beers on Kassian.
Yeah, why not?
Thanks, buddy. Got me $4 million a year.
Whatever it takes. I'd share in it. Sometimes you're just doing a job out there. That's all it is. Anyway, we're going to move on to, since we hit the All-Star game, I was thinking it's kind of that natural halfway point. Not really games-wise, but we're getting close to the trade deadline here in a while. So let's talk about some of the teams we think that are, well, there's some teams obviously out of the race now, right? They're not making the playoffs. Detroit. So let's talk about maybe who we think we'd like to see in our Final Four. Eastern and maybe Western Conference. Or maybe a couple of teams you think are going to miss the playoffs. There's a pretty good logjam with Vegas and Calgary and Edmonton, right? Vancouver. Did I say Vancouver?
No.
Yeah.
Is anybody like
But they're there
So
too.
Vancouver,
somebody out of
holy-
that group is probably not making the playoffs. Winnipeg's
Calgary.
even. You think Calgary's out?
Yeah.
You think think the wind's out of their sails a little bit? The Flamers are going to flame out.
Don't they always?
I mean, it's so tough because it is so tight. You're like, oh, it's 2 points, 3 points. You know, any one of those teams, like if Vancouver's first, they fall off, they go on a 3-game slide.
Well,
they're out of the playoffs.
Calgary and Edmonton last I looked was today, but they've both won 7 of their last 10.
That's good
So
hockey.
they're moving up. You know, Vegas is showing some signs, and they're a pretty talented roster. Vancouver's still a really good roster and playing well.
Have you watched Vancouver?
Yeah, I actually
that
have.
Pedersen is unreal.
You know what? I think Vancouver might be this year's Flames, where they played way better than you ever thought, and they made their way up the standings way further than you think they should have.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no way I would have thought they'd be in first place at the All-Star break.
Well, and they're a way younger team than most people realize too. So I don't know. I think they got solid goaltending, and they got a lot of kind of unknown entities. They're not household names per se, but they do play good hockey. So I don't know. I think Vancouver's probably in,
You look at that power play,
but that would
too,
mean
I
one of Edmonton or Vegas or Calgary. Like you have to pick one of those to
if
say
you're-
they're out.
If you're going to say out of those three, I think unfortunately, yeah, you probably do got to say the Flames. I mean, you go Edmonton, two best players arguably in the league. How do you count them out?
Yeah.
And then you look at Vegas. Well, all they've done is win.
Yeah.
So, and I mean the Flames, it's like they had one good year and then it's been kind of shit other than that. So, I mean, I know every year is different, but I mean, if you're going to say one of those teams is out, I don't know how you argue against probably the Flames falling back there.
Flames could be, they could be in trouble. But they're also, I think, a deep enough team, and I don't think that their top guys have really hit their stride.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah,
Johnny Hockey hasn't sucked, but he hasn't done what he usually does. Like, he's usually pretty phenomenal.
I mean, the thing is, too, that we're talking about, Calgary's not going to make the playoffs, but like you said, they literally were 7-10, and since Jeff Ward's taken over, I mean, they've got to be at least running it at like a 650.
I mean, they've won 7 of their last 10.
Yeah.
So,
they got to be 650 or 700 clips since Ward's taken over. Like,
yeah.
They're humming.
But there are a few teams in the West that I don't think they can catch. So, I mean, there's probably 5 spots that are pretty much under wraps. I don't see them changing.
Yeah.
Right? St. Louis isn't going anywhere any day soon.
At the end of the day,
is going to be in.
Oh, Dallas is...
Dallas, I actually...
You know who my dark horse is that I think is going to come out of the West would be Colorado. Because they're so... McKinnon is so good.
Is he the MVP?
Oh, to me,
he's making a bit of a case to become the MVP.
To me, he has to be.
So, you're saying Colorado and who in the West?
Who? I'd love to just say Flames to be a loser.
You can be a total homer.
I don't know if I can do that.
St. Louis?
Well, they can't play unless it's a crossover, right? But I'm going to say...
Well, they're a Western team.
I know, but I mean, unless they hit the crossover, it'll be a Pacific and then a Central, right?
Right. Well, I'm just saying let's... I think the Flames are going to miss the playoffs, personally. I actually think Vegas is going to miss the playoffs.
Who's going to come up?
I think that the Oilers are going to make it in. Columbus is in. Sorry, Columbus is in the other division. Vancouver, Edmonton are going to make it.
Yeah, but there'll be 3 from that division.
Not necessarily.
It has to be. There has to be 3. And then,
do you really think so?
No.
You can actually make a playoff.
Pacific gets 3. Central gets 3.
Okay.
You could actually make the playoffs with 3 players?
Yeah. If you have to pick 3 from the Pacific,
I would say it's Vegas. But I just don't think they're playing good hockey. If they get in, it's going to be kind of backing their way in.
But they got a stud of a goalie, and that can change.
But
everything.
He's having issues.
Yeah, but if he gets hot, I mean, he's going to figure it out. I mean, he's gone through a tough time. Like,
yeah, well,
he's going to figure it out.
Do you remember when that franchise was first brought in? How many goalies they went through for that one stretch?
Oh yeah, because he wasn't there.
Like, they played very good hockey, despite who was in net,
right?
And got a lot of wins, right? So,
but
maybe that'll happen again. I don't know.
So I'd say Colorado and I'm gonna say Vancouver. Unfortunately, Colorado, Vancouver coming out of the West. And what do you think of the East? What do you think in East?
Well, my picks for the West, I think it's going to be Colorado and Dallas that slug it out. One of those two is going to be the Stanley Cup rep.
Okay.
I think Vancouver.
They're just so good.
They're playing, and they're
Colorado.
They're easy to be taken lightly. So, East.
I don't watch the East as much because I'm a Flames fan, so I get that Toronto bias, and I get sick of watching the East because you watch TSN and all you see is, oh, did you see what the Leafs had at music for practice today? Like, who gives a shit?
Wasn't Drake there?
No problem.
They have a whole show. It's called the Leafs Lunch.
Yeah. Like,
what they eat for lunch, right? Isn't it?
Isn't that what it's about?
I don't know. I've never turned the goddamn show on. I just assumed.
Shit sound.
Assumed it's Marner having a sandwich.
I mean, since Ovi won one already, and just watching him and kind of wanted him to break the record, I just want Washington to do good. I just love watching Alex Ovechkin score goals. I just love watching him.
Because he's so happy.
He's the best goal scorer in the game ever. Like, I know people are going to say, oh, Gretzky. No. Ovechkin, with the goaltending, the defense, the structure that's played today.
Well, they're keeping Holtby too, hey? So the stretch drive is going to be interesting for them, but they're not going to run out of goaltending. So you're an Ovi guy. You like the Caps?
I like the Caps too.
You like the Caps? I'm going to throw a little... I like the Caps. I really think they're going to do well, but it's pretty hard to discount Boston. But my team I believe, is going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think they have unfinished business. They've been one of the hottest teams for the last month and a half. And I don't see where they're deficient in their roster and they're not full of injuries like they have been in the past.
Right here.
I'd like to see, as weird as this sounds, I think I'd like to see a Dallas Tampa Bay final.
Oh, that'd be warm weather too. That'd be nice.
Why not?
Be terrible for television ratings in Canada.
Yeah.
Probably.
Brutal.
Probably. But Bettman hasn't done anything to make sure a Canadian team can get in. So if he really gave a fuck about ratings,
That's true.
he'd manipulate it.
Do you think that actually happens?
What?
Manipulation of refs or whatever it is to get certain teams to go places?
Look at Gary Bettman. Does he look smart enough to do that?
No,
I don't think he knows what offside is.
he knows how to make $1 million business.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. And that's what he's there to do.
Like, that's the thing. People are like, oh, get rid of Bettman. Why? He's grown the game leaps and bounds from where it was when he took over.
How many players do you hear say get rid of Bettman? Because he's making them rich too.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He's done a great job for as much
For
of
the
a slime
owners.
as he is.
So you hear all this stuff like, oh, we need better stuff for mental health at work. You know what helps my mental health? More fucking money. Pay me.
Is it because you saw his uniform hat?
No, not necessarily. Yeah, maybe. No, honestly, I can put up with a lot of shit if you double my wage. We all could.
It always helps.
We all could.
I mean,
There comes a point when, yeah, all the money in the world may not be worth it. But I'd like to get up to that point where I'm getting most of the money in the world, and then I'll decide for myself. Seem fair?
If you got
Empty your
paid
pockets,
double-
boys.
Yeah, no, I mean,
You know what I mean,
You're gonna put
though.
up with more shit the more money you make. So these
You have
guys
to.
are making.
That's part of getting more money.
There's guys that are playing 2 to 6 minutes a game, getting $1 million a year. I don't give a shit. I'll do whatever you want me to do. You want me to mop the floor? Sure.
Fight Zach Kassian for $6 million?
Yeah, done.
No,
Like,
that I will not
That
do.
I will not do.
like, that's the thing. All these sports people, it's like, oh, they're so, oh, this. You're getting paid millions of dollars. Just suck it up and play the sport.
The other one I hate is when you hear regular people say, the slightly below average Joes say, there's no way any player's worth $12 million a year. You're worth whatever the fuck someone cuts you
willing
a
to pay
check
you.
for.
Exactly.
If you can convince me to give you $12 million, you're not the idiot for taking it.
No.
I might be an idiot for writing it with
Yeah.
a 4.9 GAA, but
You think Rick DiPietro cares that he got
Rick DiPietro don't care.
He got
Sign
his
an
money.
8-year contract.
Exactly. Make your money. That's what you're there to do. Limited time offer when you're a pro. So I never fault a guy for getting paid.
No.
Get paid, young man, get paid.
Exactly.
Anyway, enough hockey.
All right, we'll see you later.
See you later. You out?
Goodbye, hockey.
Goodbye, hockey. We want to talk Super Bowl.
All
What'd
right.
you guys think of the game? Maddie, did you cry?
Oh, I didn't cry.
Did you get your binky, go to bed, hug it, make it
It's-
soaking wet?
No, honestly, it's
Because you
it's-
cried, not
it's a
because
game,
not
right?
because you like tube socked it on your binky.
No, it's a game.
Yeah.
You know, life goes on.
Spoken like a true loser.
I was gonna say, weird how losers always say it's just a game.
Hey, you've heard, we've all heard that saying, right? It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. You know who wrote that?
A loser.
A loser.
It's all fun and games until you win, and you're like, "Fuck yeah!"
I thought it was decent.
We got a national champion right here. Did you know that?
At what? Fucking the dog?
It's his dog,
Actually,
man.
I'm a 2-time national champion.
Yeah. Somebody has to keep that pound stocked. It's his dog. Lay off. No, won a national championship.
At what?
And he was the starting goalie.
At hockey?
Yeah. And then we go to the corporate tourney. We won once.
Burton, man, I tell you.
Is the defense.
This guy's like the best recovery drunk ever. We tie in, and then the next day you think there's no way Lacker's getting out of bed, and he's up having breakfast in the restaurant downstairs, talking to the waitresses, having a great time.
He's
You're
a
like,
professional.
How is he not dead? Yeah, he's a
professional.
pro. He's a pro. He's a gamer. I'll take a gamer any day. I don't need practice players. I need gamers.
I
He's a
don't even
gamer.
take. I don't even take practice. I don't take
He
warm-up.
doesn't. He doesn't take warm-ups even. You
Practice.
shoot at an empty net for 3 minutes. Buzzer goes. Lacker goes over, and I'm ready. You're like,
How come nobody let me get away with that? I would have totally
oh my
forego
God.
the
I've
shootout.
actually taken a few laps in warm-ups, and then while he's like over on the side, I've shot pucks at him while he's over on the side just to say I shot a few pucks at the goalie to get him warm.
Like, I'm not a physical
And then he
specimen.
jumps out of the way. And that,
You aren't?
I'm not a physical specimen, so it's like if I take a warm-up, I'm tired. So if I don't take warm-up, I'm fresh. Let's go. It's kind of how I think about it. And I need to stretch these limbs out. But Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Howard, like, look at this guy.
I thought it was
Maybe
pretty good.
He should host. Hey, he's getting
Yeah.
us back on the rails.
Well, I mean, I get off the rails every once in a while. So.
Yeah. Did you want another beer?
Well, I still got none left, so I mean,
Where was that other one?
I already drank that one too.
He's a machine. That's what I'm telling you, folks.
No, I like the game. I mean, that's a good football game. Everybody says, like, when you're watching sports, you know, you probably, whatever, eating wings, socializing, not watching the first half too closely, 10-10, whatever. You get to the second half, team starts pulling away. You're like, regardless of who you're cheering for, you're kind of thinking, make it a game, make it a game. Ultimate comeback.
How many Super Bowls have you watched in the past where it wasn't even a game?
No, it was a good game.
That game, you know, looked like it could have went either way legitimately at various moments, right? So
I think we can all
for that
agree
reason alone, it has to be.
It pretty much went how I thought it could go.
Yeah.
I thought the
Mahomes-
Chiefs would
Mahomes' comeback.
dominate. Just like I know everybody's saying San Fran's defense all year, but it's a zone defense. You got Mahomes. I thought the Chiefs were going to run away with it.
He can fit it in the windows and whatever,
I thought San
right?
Fran was going to win, like going into the game.
Yeah, so did I. I just thought they were more
I think
sound on the lines.
I think Shanahan outthought himself again.
Sort of like his 28-3, shit the bed, shit the pillows.
Jeez, I know what. We got a
Shit the
20 to
drapes
10
game.
lead, and let's start chucking it.
Yeah.
Let's put it in Jimmy G's hands.
For a quarterback that hasn't thrown the ball 20
who
times
just
all
went
year.
through 2 playoff games not throwing the ball.
Yeah.
But he
do you
does
figure,
fuck
Matt?
porn stars, so I mean, a win's a win.
Like I said, because he lost the Super Bowl, he's only going to get 3 women that night.
Exactly.
Well, and I really thought Jimmy G was a better quarterback than either Shanahan let him be or than he showed us. I expected him to be able to do a little more. And then when you see the replays of him throwing that one pass and he had his goddamn eyes closed, and you're like, dude,
Pressure.
like,
Can't handle pressure.
who closes their eyes?
It's big lights.
Probably all our wives, but I mean, who actually in a football game closes
And
their
I
eyes?
don't mean the pressure of being in a Super Bowl. He couldn't handle the pressure that they were bringing at him.
Yeah.
He was 0 for 7.
And it was
under-
He
baffling
got
to
touched
me.
a lot. Like,
Appropriately.
Touched me in bad
well, I
places.
mean, if it's a Super Bowl, you're doing it however you can get there, right?
Right.
So,
So stand in there, take the blow, keep your eyes open, eyes on the prize, right?
Well, I think it all goes back to that first half and the timeouts, and you basically showed
Shanahan-
Spagnuolo that you have no faith in your quarterback, and then you put it in your quarterback's hands. Well, of course, just
but you hadn't put it in your quarterback's hands for the 2 games previous.
right.
And now all of a sudden you're like, yeah, we're going to put it all on you. Why change the game plan?
Well, not in the first half. They did what they're supposed to.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I would agree.
Except for the last minute and a half.
That last 2 minutes, Shanahan came out today and said he would do it the exact same. I understand his logic.
Which I love.
I
what
understand
else is
his
he gonna
logic
say?
on
Yeah.
it, but I don't
yeah.
quite understand how he views his own team based on that logic, if that makes sense. Like losing 40 seconds of play clock, he wanted to make sure that there wasn't enough time left on the clock
For Mahomes to get the
for
ball.
Mahomes to get the
Yeah,
ball. I get
exactly.
it. I get it. But Mahomes can't get in your head
You're in the
when you're
Super
playing
Bowl.
offense,
That
Right.
shows a huge lack of
right?
confidence in
Like
your team.
once your offense goes out on the field and actually does what they're supposed to do,
Yes.
then you can manage whatever you need to. Like realistically, he could have done his 3 plays, got to the punting down, and if he felt there was too much time, let the clock expire. Take a penalty, kick from 5 yards further back on the punt, and chew that time away on Mahomes. The Titans did it against the Patriots. So there are ways to keep that time away from him, but why are you keeping that time away from your own quarterback?
Well, that's my thing. If you're the best defense in the league, why are you saying we got to make sure we live. No. Go out there on offense, do your thing, get your points.
Right.
And say, you're the best defense in the league. Stop them. Like, you got to have some confidence in your players and not be worried about their players.
Yeah.
You're in the Super Bowl for a reason.
Well, you're trotting out your offense. Worry about your offense.
Exactly.
Right? I get it. He's the head coach and he has to think of more than just one side of the ball. But the one side of the ball that was trotting out on the field, now with 3 timeouts and a minute to go, should have got a field goal, and they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Where was his focus? On the other side of the ball?
Yes.
Looks that way. Did it affect his play calling? Maybe. At the end of the day, I like his logic. I don't like his not trusting either side of the ball and overthinking it.
It's just, I mean, that's just straight inexperience at the end of the day. Really. I mean,
fair enough.
You get into that position, and I mean, I'll never be there. We'll never be there. But, you know, oh my God, I'm in the Super Bowl. I know I want to win. We're winning. Okay, I gotta change it up because they're expecting me to do this, so I have to change it up.
Outthinking yourself, outsmarting yourself. Yeah.
The confident guy just goes, my game plan is solid. I'm going to do my game plan.
Yeah, we do what we do.
He's overthinking and going, okay, well, I got to manipulate this so that he doesn't know what I'm doing, and now you don't know what you're doing, and it showed.
But everybody always brings up Belichick has a different game plan for everybody and blah, 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 and he changes himself every week.
Everybody has a different game plan for everybody. They all watch film.
But they still have a structure of...
you have your identity.
Your identity.
Well, and to me, when Mahomes obviously got into Shanahan's head somehow with that whole last 2 minutes, I thought the second they're in your head coach's head, they're going to get into your players' heads. And that's what happened, speaking of Belichick, all those years of Belichick being in Peyton Manning's head. Peyton Manning would do shit against Bill Belichick he would never do in another game in the same situation. And why? Because you know the boogeyman's over on the other side and he's going to get you. He didn't even move, but you're scared he's going to get you. You outthink yourself. And that's what I think it was. Mahomes is now that boogeyman. He spooked him. He spooked him into not...
I'd be scared of him.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying don't be scared of him, but to me, he spooked Shanahan a little bit, and it kind of showed. So,
which also spooked Richard Sherman.
Richard Sherman.
He was a lot quieter in his post game than he was all season.
Yeah, weird how that works.
You know the meme of him that he sits there and he's kind of doing the cry face thing in a Seattle uniform. Just the same thing happened again. Right, when they threw it on the goal line and should have ran it with Marshawn. Oh. The same crybaby face.
I'd be crying over that one too. If I was on that team and it's like, oh, we got Marshawn Lynch and we throw it.
That was
great
bad.
Play though,
but,
Butler. Great play.
I mean, good on a guy like him to find himself a good place to play, a place that's contending. He's always in and around good teams.
Oh, he's a great football player. So, I mean, you rag on that guy, and I'm just kind of joking because he's a great football player.
Yeah, but you always like to hammer the ones who talk too much.
Yeah, there's got to be a villain. He's doing it for a reason, right?
And Sammy Watkins got him for a couple big ones. I said last week I thought maybe he could handle him one-on-one. He could not handle him.
He needs help.
Sammy Watkins beat him for a couple of big gainers. And you're kind of like, your top corner just got beat by their number 2 guy.
I mean, end of the day, to me, the game was lost. Third and 15, Tyreek Hill, 44 yards. That changed the game.
Yeah.
That
was the game-changing play. I was going to say, what did you think was probably the game-changing play or the best play? I would say that was probably the Chiefs.
Yeah, that was the play.
That was theirs.
The 9-step drop play.
And for the Niners, I mean, probably a big game-changing play was Kittle being called for offensive pass interference.
Which it was.
But that same extended arm showed up for Kyle Rudolph against the Saints. Look at the replay. Rudolph, straight arm.
I thought that one was also pass interference.
Right.
So?
And their referee analyst guy in the booth even said the second that one of those 2 arms straightens, they're going to call it. Kyle Rudolph had a straight arm. Sorry, Vikings fans. I kind of like
how that ended. I don't think so. Screw them.
They're all over this city.
Screw them.
Screw them.
What have they ever won?
Well, anybody who wears purple. Like, how much respect do you have for Barney?
Come on, Barney. Hey, he taught kids how to count, man.
No, he didn't. Did he?
He's better than the Teletubbies, I'll tell you that for free. You ever watch the Teletubbies back now? Holy shit.
Scary.
That stuff is crazy.
Do that on LSD, see what happens, eh?
Right
That would
on, let's
spook
do
you.
it.
Let's go.
That's a podcast.
That's
All right,
a podcast.
we're gonna do it.
Teletubbies
We're gonna have another
and
podcast
LSD.
tonight. You guys stay tuned. Might not go live, but
So, having said all that, I kind of thought they should have ran the ball a little more, the Niners. Didn't like how they didn't get... They didn't really go with what got them there.
did he even get 75 yards?
Who?
Mossart or whatever?
Mostert?
MOSFET.
Yeah, sure. I don't even think he got 75 yards.
They averaged over 6 per carry for the game as a team, which tells you it was working decently well.
Yep.
You were up. You were
And
up.
you were up.
by 10.
And
So,
and then you got in
same
your
thing
head
that
and
happened
changed
when
it.
he was the Atlanta coordinator, up 28-3, forgot to run the football. Here he is up 20-10 in the Super Bowl as the head coach of the Niners, and he kind of forgot to run the football.
I kind of like his dad.
I would have salted the game. Well, speaking of his dad, as a consultant, you've got John Elway, who made his name with Shanahan. Shanahan made his name with Elway, right? Mm-hmm. As a Broncos fan, watching a Shanahan, and there's no play action bootleg, it's play action stand there like a post, get hit in the face with your eyes closed. Where was the bootleg? Move the launch point. What was Mahomes so scary? Like, why was Mahomes so scary? Why is Aaron Rodgers so scary? Why is Russell Wilson so
Because they
scary?
get out of the pocket.
They moved the launch point. Exactly. And they didn't move Jimmy G. He was pounded into the ground like a picket halfway to the ranch.
Yeah, but you're right. He was right, just sticking right in the middle.
So move him around.
Surrounded him and let
Move
him
him around. It was baffling to me a little bit. Who's happy for Andy Reid?
Oh, man.
I'm happy
Andy
for
Reid
Andy
gets to
Reid.
go to the White House and eat fast food.
I'd love to crush a cheeseburger with Andy Reid.
Andy Reid is
He said he was going to eat the biggest cheeseburger he's ever seen.
I bet you Trump gets it for him.
Just a great guy. That's a guy that's
21 years as a head coach, finally got her done.
and he should have probably won a few more, but good for him.
Well, he had Donovan McNabb. It helps when your
And then
quarterback's
Alex
not
Smith.
puking in the huddle at the Super Bowl.
I would be too, though, but I'd still play. I'm a gamer.
But you're a gamer.
I'm a gamer.
You'd be puking for a different reason.
Yeah, exactly. Holy fuck, boys.
Not because you were scared.
Were you guys at the club last night? I was at the Rippers. Puking my guts out.
Did you see that? They had $2 tacos. It's unreal.
Fish
They were
tacos
fish.
in Miami.
They
I
were
don't know
fish
if I'd eat them.
tacos. Special for you, $1.
Anyway, what player do you feel was maybe a little bit underrated or surprised you a little bit for either side?
I thought Damian Williams played better than I thought
Yeah.
he was.
If Mahomes is in the MVP, I thought Damian Williams maybe was.
Yeah.
With 3 touchdowns, what do you have, like 140, 50 yards total offense, total
Yeah, I thought he
yardage?
played good.
It's
Quite a
pretty
bit
good.
on that last run there.
Yeah.
Kind of padded it a bit.
And for an undrafted guy, that's the cool part.
Do you have to be drafted anymore? I mean,
Well,
come on.
Drafted means they
More
think
money.
It
highly
just
of
means
your
they saw more of you
highly
before
your
you
skills, but I
made
mean,
the show or you were in a more visible area. But these days,
it's just
they,
a means
they
of how
find
you
everybody.
get there. Yeah. So, actually, I thought that Jones, the D tackle,
Yeah.
Chris Jones for KC, that fourth quarter when Jimmy was closing his eyes, it's because Chris Jones was sitting on his lap like Santa.
Yeah.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
So he's also a free agent. I think that's going to make for
There's gonna be
maybe a
some-
pretty lucrative payday. I don't know that they can keep him. They can't keep him, Sammy Watkins, and Patrick Mahomes. They have $18 million in cap space, and Mahomes is going to go from a $6 million guy to a $40 million guy.
Problem with the NFL is it's so hard to win a Super Bowl that, like, once you win one, there's not a lot of, oh, let's stay together and get another one.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
they're
so it's
not
like,
going to
good.
be able to because they have to pay Mahomes. So,
Yeah, so
In
go
order
get
to
your
fit
payday.
Mahomes in, they're going to have to lose Chris Jones at D tackle and possibly Sammy Watkins to make it all happen.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Plus, they have 2 corners that need to be re-signed that both did well. So there's only so much money.
well, isn't for that
So the
reason?
window was really now, right?
They had to win.
They had to win because it's only going to get harder.
Isn't for that reason this whole talk of a Chiefs dynasty now, like a little premature?
A little bit, but at the same time, there is a little bit of reason, I guess, to the whole thing. If you were betting on a quarterback right now today,
For sure.
Mahomes is like Peyton Manning, where you could probably put it on his back. He's going to take you a lot further than
Or
the
Russell
talent.
Wilson?
Or
How many
Russell
Super
Wilson.
Bowls have they won since he got paid?
True, but I mean, if you got somebody in the front office who's pretty savvy at drafting, you
Why did
Still
Tom
maybe
Brady
can
win so
pull
many
it
Super
off.
Bowls? Because he didn't get paid.
He didn't get paid.
End of the day, you pay a guy.
He might get paid this time, though.
he might.
Do you think he's a New England Patriot next year?
No,
Really?
no.
Hot take.
Well, New
Hot
England
take.
has offered him $30 million.
Yeah,
And he
but
won't
that's
take
like
it.
that's like begging to your ex, like, "Oh, I'll let you hold the remote. Oh my God, just come back, I love you."
Massage your toes, I swear.
Yeah, Robert Kraft will just give him some coupons for the rub and tugs he goes to, and he thinks it's all going to be better.
Wonder how many they went to in Miami.
Shut up, fool!
Shut up. Yeah, there. But honestly, I think them throwing the $30 million out, it's like, "Oh, please, Tom, come back." He's gone.
But it's like,
He's gone. He's a Las Vegas Raider.
to me,
That's what
New
I think,
England's
too.
not good enough next year to just bring Tom Brady in and win a Super Bowl. They need some
No, they're not.
really big changes. And it's like, why doesn't Tom Brady want to maybe go somewhere that has a little bit more and just try
The
it
Las
somewhere
Vegas
else?
Raiders have like $90 million in cap space, a young team, a stud coach, and
Vegas.
Vegas. Think of the marketing opportunities and the side money he can make in Vegas playing there 2 years.
I don't even
And
think
that's
it's
where
Does Tom
all
Brady need a
has-beens
ring?
go.
No, I don't even think it's the money. I think it's Tom Brady wants to win a Super Bowl without Bill Belichick to say it's Tom Brady, it's not Bill Belichick.
Well,
And I think both ways.
Oh, it certainly legitimizes and cements your legacy to do it without somebody else.
If he got 7 with
The
somewhere
hard part
else,
is,
holy shit.
but the
boys.
hard part is I don't see Bill Belichick retiring in the next 10 years, and he sure as hell isn't getting fired in the next 10 years.
No,
He's got a lifetime contract. So his window's 10 years. Tom's is 2, 3.
Huh.
So
Maybe two.
But
Maybe 2.
6 as a player is better to me than 9 as a coach based on lifespan.
to some degree, yeah. But
You know what I
Bill
mean? Like, I mean,
but
you
Bill
can't
being Bill,
play as long
Bill's
as
a
you can coach.
DC. Bill's, a number of years he's been the DC, and he's also the player personnel guy, the de facto GM. Like, he wears more than one hat. So when he puts a Super Bowl ring on, and
Actually,
Andy
never seen
Reid
him wear
puts
a
a
hat.
Yeah,
Andy
they're a
Reid
little
puts a
more
Super
involved.
Bowl, he's done more than an Andy Reid for his team. Bill runs the whole goddamn show. That rodeo is Bill.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's true.
So, I mean, yeah. Anyway, he does have a bigger window though, for sure.
Right?
So,
I mean, he can go another 20 years.
speak,
But let's talk about the best part of the Super Bowl.
let's move on a little bit. And I've got a little. So the national anthem was sung by Demi Lovato. I don't know who picked her wardrobe. I'm not like some fashionista type, but she looked like a pretty big marshmallow. Like, it was all poofy, all white. I don't know. It was confusing. It made her head look really small.
All I know,
Was that me?
if you had the under, you were pumped.
And halftime by J-Lo and Shakira.
Oh,
Was there a better halftime
Yes.
ever?
Yes.
You think so? Who was it?
Prince.
Prince? Prince is pretty epic. But did
Gaga
Prince,
was better than that.
But did Prince gyrate his junk
I
10
did
feet
not.
from the
I
camera?
did not like
Oh,
the
okay.
halftime show.
Yeah.
okay. Like
So-
was it the best ever? Absolutely not. Like Bruno Mars was better. But did I
Whoa.
enjoy it? Did I love it? And was I amazed that one's 43 and one's 50? Absolutely. It was an entertainment, and then that's exactly what we got. We got entertained, and everybody enjoyed it, except for Kyle.
Well, it's
Well,
probably
I enjoyed
Betty.
the shaking.
It's
I
better
did not
than
enjoy
Katy
the lip
Perry and the
syncing.
Sharks, no?
Oh, are you kidding me? Left Shark? Let's go.
Left Sharp is fucking. It's part of history.
Yeah.
It's iconic.
Yes.
Okay, well, fair enough. It's
Some dude got Left Shark tattooed on him.
is his name
That's how
Patrick
epic.
Mahomes, or-
I still think Left Shark was Gronk. Swear to God.
Probably. Wouldn't
So-
you? Hey, dude.
So that being said, let's have a little debate question. Date, dump, or marry Demi Lovato? J-Lo, Shakira. Who you dating? Who you dumping? Who would you marry?
I'm marrying J-Lo because she's got the most money.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're wrong.
No, marry J-Lo.
I'm dumping Shakira.
What?
No, I'm dating Shakira.
I'm dumping Shakira.
Demi Lovato has a pretty jagged, ragged history. Like
No,
drugs,
I think she knows how to party, though.
suicide, and all kinds. She would be very hard to date or marry.
I'm not marrying
Maybe
her.
she's come
I think-
through all of her problems.
Yeah, but there's baggage galore.
Who
I only
doesn't
have
have
2
baggage?
arms. Huh?
Who doesn't have baggage?
Well, I do, but it's at least something you could carry. She's got more than I can carry.
That's debatable on a lot of levels. Your baggage being carryable?
Fits in the overhead bin.
Who's
Anyway,
overhead?
for me,
There's a lot of
dump.
extra space up there in that overhead bin.
Easy. How the hell? What's going on? 2 fucking goalies, eh? Hey?
That's what you get for being
Why don't you
defense but
two-
not playing defense.
Shit.
He's
Somebody's,
an offensive defenseman.
my official position in hockey is rover. That's what I am.
Find me at the far blue line.
Yeah, I don't back check. I just hang out. Somebody covered for me, so there's no sense me rushing back there.
Yeah. Ron Rob sniping on you at the Southstall tourney.
You like that?
You like that?
Yeah, I toe dragged in front of the oldest guy at the tourney. Little bit inebriated myself. I put it right on his tape, and he sniped on this guy. And I've never heard it. I've never heard the end of it. So this next time I'm playing, I'm shooting on my own fucking goal.
That's
if I'm
scheduled.
going to get blamed, I may as well score it. Anyway, date, dump, or marry. I say Demi Lovato, dump. There's no way I'm marrying J-Lo. She's married half of Hollywood. Fuck it.
Yeah, so the average,
No way.
Average
No way.
lifetime of the
And I
marriage is
don't
probably
like-
2 years.
I'm sorry, but I tend to like my a little bit thinner. She's a little thick.
She's Latino.
I'm not a KFC drumsticks. So is Shakira. Shakira's
She looked pretty good.
Shakira's
Honestly,
good.
So
those
based on
girls
your
are
standards, you're
built.
going to dump all 3.
No, I'm gonna marry Shakira. I would date J-Lo just because she'd be an adventure for a week, but then you got to get rid of her before you go full Ben Affleck and buy her all kinds of weird things and do a movie like Jiggly.
It's better than Daredevil.
See the shit. His standards went down. So to me, that's my date, dump, or marry.
That's fair.
Shakira, yeah, that's a spicy meatball.
I mean,
You guys have nothing to say.
no, I was.
We already said.
All I was thinking.
You
about
guys
was,
are all J-Lo.
I was just thinking
Marry
about Shakira
J-Lo,
when she just went in the
date
screen.
Shakira.
That was probably my favorite part of the whole performance. I don't know why. It was just,
That'll be a meme forever, for a long time.
Sorry.
Almost like Pierre Maguire eating a hot dog.
that's just a sad sight.
See, you're getting all excited, and then I dump that on you, and you're just like, wrecked. Anyway, speaking of body parts, Baker Mayfield made comments about putting his foot in his mouth a lot in 2019, and he's vowing to be quieter. A, it's pretty easy to be quieter. He didn't shut up. And B, his foot was in his mouth. I'd say both feet. He looked like Captain Dan.
Yeah, but
Captain Dan on Forrest Gump. That's
I told you he should have kept his mouth shut weeks ago.
you stick a microphone in somebody's mouth, and
And if they're an idiot, they're going to continue to be an idiot.
you know what? Then the media's going, sweet. Every time we stick it in his face, he's going to be an idiot. So what are we going to do? We're going to do it. Clickbait. So yeah, he's an idiot, but the media's all didn't help him at all.
They're not there to help him. They're there to take advantage
Well,
of every little
then
thing they
the
can.
Cleveland Browns PR guy is an absolute moron to be like, all right, we're going to keep parading this guy out every game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on.
And his parents for telling him that he could act that way.
yeah.
And it was okay.
Well, Blotz, just because he acts that way, it isn't just his parents. There's a lot of kids that act that way nowadays.
And I
and
blame
get
their
away with it.
parents.
Yeah, well,
They don't hit kids anymore. I got lots of beatings. Why can't they get beatings too?
I was always I did a lot of stupid shit in school. Yeah, shocker, I know. But I was more scared of the old man.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing to teach her. And they had the strap when I went to school. There wasn't as much fear going to the principal's office as there was coming home. And not saying I got beat like a redheaded stepchild, but you're right. I mean,
Sometimes you deserve a little smack.
it's a little sluck me draffy, a little wake up call.
Corrective. It's corrective.
Corrective measures.
We all turned out just fine.
I have no head trauma at all. None.
I mean, the comments should just be popping off right now debating that point.
First,
but-
somebody has to watch it.
All good. There's always the rest of the week. One last football thing on the NFL. The Hall of Fame class came out. I didn't think there was any shockers, but I wanted to also point out to Kyle, who said Eli Manning's a first ballot Hall of Famer,
Yep.
that winning a Super Bowl isn't everything. You've got to be able to dominate the position for a length of time. And there's guys, one guy in particular, Edgerrin James, who got nominated, who dominated for about a 5-year span, has 0 Super Bowl rings.
If you don't have a Super Bowl ring, you take a back burner to somebody that does, in my opinion.
I never said it was all the criteria.
But it's very
I
important.
never
It
said you-
matters.
You have to win.
He
You
didn't
could be
win.
you could be the best
Would you
player
say
in the
Edgerrin
world.
James, because he didn't win, isn't a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
He was the
Possibly.
best back in football for 5 years.
That's kind of
4.
like Barry Sanders,
Was he?
right?
Did he win? Wasn't the best back those 5 years.
But not everybody's in a position to manipulate the game to the point where they can win.
Yeah, but we're talking about a running back compared to a quarterback.
Fair enough. But I just wanted to point out he had no Super
We're
Bowls.
talking about practice.
Practice. Anyway, there are some pretty big names on there, though. Steve Atwater being one of them. I can't believe it took Atwater till now to get in, because there's only 4 safeties, maybe 5 if you count Woodson, in my opinion, that are even worth their salt.
Mm-hmm.
They're like next level shit. Steve Atwater's one of those guys. Did you see the hit he laid years ago? You guys, the historians that I am, remember Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare? He was that great big burly bastard for the Chiefs. He came through the line. Nobody could tackle him. Kind of like Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Atwater came through the line. Just Google that stuff tomorrow when you're sitting around. Steve Atwater comes through and puts him on his back.
Destroys them.
Destroys him.
Jesus.
Yes.
What is that?
What the fuck is that? But Atwater hit like a truck. Sean Atwater, Ronnie Lott, Polamalu, Cam Chancellor. Some big names. Anyway, I love them hard-hitting safeties, but I really like that he finally got in. So the rest of them are kind of no-brainers.
The Hall
Oh,
of
for
Fame
sure.
always, to me, is just like, you vote, right? Like, there's no specific, okay, if you do this, you get in.
No.
Like, so
Right.
it's like,
Well-
it's a popularity contest.
Did you see Deion Sanders' comments with Eli's retirement just recently? What does the Hall of Fame mean? To him, there should be a standard. There should be a level that guys get to. They change the game. They dominate a position for a number of years. Because he said, if you don't, we're just letting anybody in. What is it then what does it mean anymore? Right?
Are you insinuating Eli did nothing?
Well, not that he did nothing, but he should take some years before he gets in.
He won 2
to
Super
punish
Bowls.
him?
Didn't change the position. Didn't even dominate the position while he played for any
Well,
given year.
You're
2 years he
inducting
did.
a number
No,
of
he
people. Not
dominated the
everybody
playoff run.
changes their position, right?
Guys dominate their position. That's kind of his criteria. So, from Primetime's point of view, if you're a corner, say, just like he is, should be one of the top 2 corners, 3 corners in the league for an extended period of time. And then you can be considered. Not in, considered.
And that's fair. And my thing is, at the end of the day, if I'm a player and I'm won 2 Super Bowls and I don't get into the Hall of Fame, I don't care. I won 2 Super Bowls.
Bingo.
Yeah, but his brother's going to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
His
well,
brother
2 Super
dominated the
Bowls.
position
Unless
for
he
a
ha-
long time.
Unless they put a red mark on his forehead that goes in, it doesn't count. God, man, how could they not find a helmet for Peyton that fit? I just don't get it. It's just like, you
I
get
was
paid
wondering where you were going with
$30
that.
million, $30 million a year, and you don't have a helmet that fits your head.
I was going to try to find him another beer.
That just annoys me.
How do you think he knew so much about football?
Yeah, it was
He
just,
had another layer of cranium in there.
it was just information just pulling through his
Just
forehead.
a freaking HDMI
Yeah.
port under his ear.
That was how they got the signals, the defensive signals
Yeah.
into his head.
Yeah.
They were
You think
cheating
the
way back
Astros
then.
were
Select
advanced?
Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Wi-Fi select.
Anyway, let's get out of the NFL. I can't believe you guys would marry J-Lo.
Why not?
Look at her roster, though. Just be in that roster.
I don't want sloppy ninths. But forget it. I'm not going back there.
Well, you went back there.
You did it.
No. The hips don't lie. Shakira all day, baby. Anyway, CFL. Lots to talk about. We're right in the middle of the legal tampering period. That's a hard thing to say, isn't it? Legal tampering.
Yeah. Well, I
Well,
don't
then
think
how
they
the hell is it
technically call
tampering
legal
if it's
tampering.
legal?
Could you have just changed that a little bit? So you know what
Why
I mean?
not
Like,
just open it at
it's open.
February?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when it's now. February 2nd or
Pre-free
1st.
agency. There's your word. Pre-free agency.
Just doesn't make sense.
Whatever.
Well, it's better than
But
what they're
really,
using, but whatever. Moving on. Arbuckle. We saw Collaros get paid $1 million with incentives if he hits them all. Hopefully he can in the 5 games he plays in 2 years. But
Yeah, but if he only plays playoffs and wins, who cares?
yeah, whatever. Shut up. Arbuckle made a pretty. You saw the Arbuckle numbers, and you were just like, "Oh!"
I was astounded. I can't believe it.
I can't either.
He's done nothing.
Well, here's the thing, and I think he's worth that money because he's shown enough on tape to warrant getting that money.
On a Calgary offensive
He
line
hasn't
that
played
can
a
block.
whole lot of, starting wise, he hasn't played a whole lot different in terms of games started versus our current starter.
Yeah, but
So the jury's out on him as much as it is a guy like Fajardo. Fajardo did a little longer this year, but I mean, they effectively have started both of them less than 25 games.
At the end of the day, it's the market.
Well, that too, right?
good
is
for
the
him,
market.
right? Like I'm not
Oh,
going to
good
say
for him.
I'm
Get
gonna
your
take
money.
it
Get
too,
paid,
right?
young man.
Around the $500,000 seems to be the market for
So,
the
I mean-
second tier of quarterback.
Looking at Collaros' deal last week, where he's making $450,000, $460,000 incentives, making $1 million. This is a $970,000 over 2 years, and the guy is a lesser risk for health. You know, with a guy like Lapo that he can probably scheme
But
and
Collaros is a
and
Grey
use
Cup
him
champion.
well. He is, fair enough. Not going to take it away from him, but are you going to pour $1 million into a guy you got that many question marks about?
You know what? You're going to sign that deal if it's incentive laced like it is, because it's like he's probably not going to play 18 games. So perfect.
Here's the next thing. Outside of Hamilton, who's got the next best quarterback in the East? Probably the Red Blacks.
I thought you were in love with Bethel Thompson.
I like Bethel Thompson,
No,
but there's nothing
there was a little
around
more
him.
than like a couple
Well,
weeks ago.
That beard. He can change a tire or fell a tree, I'm sure. All I'm saying is who's the next best quarterback in the East? Arbuckle has a bit of a case to be made for himself.
It seems to be the going rate.
I mean,
So, like you said, it's market driven, right? If you're going to get a guy and you think he's a starting quality quarterback, you pretty much have to pay him $400. He's not that far north of $400.
Straight cash, homie.
Yeah.
Straight cash.
Straight cash.
So I would argue that the Arbuckle deal maybe looks a little bit high, but not when you compare him to whatever else is starting out there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got
Well,
teams.
can't look any worse than Jennings last year paying him and then him being a backup half the year.
and you got a guy like Masoli and Dane Evans
And they signed Watford too.
and Watford. So I mean, you got a quarterback room in Hamilton that's probably getting $850 a year collectively. So they've invested pretty heavy in that position. So even if they bring in a guy like Nichols for $250, they're still cheaper at that roster position to fill it with 2 decent guys than Hamilton spent.
That's true.
So I don't know. It seems high for a guy who's got not a very long resume, but like Kyle said, it's the market. That's market driven. So who else are you going to get, and what are they worth? You know, their backup plan probably was Nichols.
That's the problem. CFL is so quarterback driven that you have to pay it because you can't go into the year not having somebody.
Unless you're willing to do like BC and put it all in a quarterback and then buy nothing else. They'll be better.
That was coaching.
That was coaching. Well, if you can't even wear your hat straight, how are you going to call the plays straight?
Oh.
So yeah, exactly. Maybe I'm just a little old school. Good DC, but wasn't a head coach. Anyway,
not yet.
Was is Arbuckle worth it? I guess was my question.
I guess you think he is.
I think he is. You guys had more question marks, but
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Yeah, you can't answer that question today. He's market-wise, he's worth it. But if he fucking throws 6 interceptions his first 3 games, he's probably not worth it.
Straight cash, homie.
Can't pull him though either. That's the thing.
That hurts.
Anyway, Rider news. We re-signed fullback Alberta Bottcher for a 2-year deal.
That should make you happy.
Yeah,
You like that kid?
I like him. I think he's a very versatile player. Plays specials. You need guys like that. You need Canadians like that. So those guys are just as important sometimes as the superstars, just because you can use them. They got the right passports and they do multiple things. So I don't know what he got for money, but he's a fullback. What do you pay a fullback? Unless his name's Chris Zarka, he's not making 6 figures.
Right.
What a year that was.
These
when he
next
got,
2
like,
are
9 TDs.
way more exciting to me.
12.
Was it 12?
Yeah, didn't Zarka have 12 that one year?
I don't know, but it was awesome. Every time we were on the goal line, boom, Zarka.
I just loved yelling when he scored touchdowns. The Canuck truck!
No, it was the best.
Yeah, fuck. You could tell. Maybe I had a few more pops when I watch games.
Couple pink lemonades.
Well, you know what the Rider motto is, right? Win or lose, we still booze.
Oh, yeah.
Go Riders.
My motto.
That's your motto. We also signed Cam Judge.
I like that.
That was a good one. He was working out for Jacksonville just a little while back, so
Needs
him
another
coming
year of
back
tape.
one more year. Yeah. I think he's got to try again next year. I think if it doesn't happen, he's probably a CFLer for life.
Smart for him though. Like get the contract
Yeah, smart
done,
for the
sign
team
it.
too. We needed a starting linebacker from last year. We lost Moncrief, and it sounds like, little side note, Elamimian is not even close in his negotiations with the Riders. So I would expect to see him hit the free agent market, and he and his agent both said they're open to whatever comes their way. They'll look at all things. So he's a 33-year-old middle linebacker. He played very well, but
he's at the end of his career. Right?
it might be term related as much as money.
He's got to be chasing cash. That's what he's got to be.
Probably.
At
I think
33
Heath's right. It's probably more term.
At 33, I don't want to commit a 2-year deal to him, maybe. It might be tough. And he did.
35-year-old middle linebacker.
I believe he was at the 160 mark. So in BC, he was at 200, but he was in his prime. He was winning Defensive Player of the Year, stuff like that. So maybe the numbers in between.
He balled out this year, though.
He did, but do you give him a huge raise as he
He's
gets
still
older?
33 years old.
On a 1-year deal, you would. So, like, let's think if the term is the issue for him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you could probably justify giving him 185 probably.
On a 1.
On a 1, but not on 2.
On a 2, I'd probably offer him the same as what he got at 160.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It doesn't sound like he's game for that. So see him hit the market, who knows? But if we weren't hosting the Grey Cup this year, I wouldn't be as worried that they can find a guy or they have time to find a guy. But when you're hosting the Grey Cup, you've lost Moncrief. Sam Hurl's also a free agent. Who's playing the middle? Like, never mind backups or filling in Moncrief's spot. Like, who's playing the middle? That's a big question mark.
In a Grey Cup year, that's a big question.
Yeah, so hopefully he goes to the market, he sees what he's worth, and he doesn't think our offer in Riderville is such a bad deal anymore. So, Jacoby Cofield re-signed for 2 years. He's a 28-year-old. I really like that signing. We didn't see any news on Coleman, the other American tackle, but having a guy like Cofield coming back, having a tackle position taken care of, it's just one more thing, peace of mind-wise, that we don't have to worry about. So there's some. I'm not overly impressed with the free agent market when it comes to O-linemen. There may be a couple of guards out there, but finding a tackle is expensive. And if he's Canadian, it's even more expensive. So maybe going with the status quo isn't such a bad idea. So
Is our status quo so bad?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I personally think that we're going to get not just a healthier line this year, at least initially to start. If Bladdock can be brought back, which I doubt happens, we're that much deeper, that much better. Guys like Shepley are going to be even better. I think the style of offense that Moz plays and will want to play will make them better. So, yeah, I don't think the status quo was bad at all. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about what you guys just thought the odds were of some of these players coming back now that the tampering period's open. Is Shaq a rider?
I think he has to be. I think that's your number one priority on the offensive side, other than O-lineman.
So Shaq's paycheck, how big would you fill that number out at? Because
I'd
keep
give
in
him
mind,
Ellingson money.
What's that?
I'd give him Ellingson money.
Yeah.
What's
Darrell
that?
Walker last year was the top free agent. Went to Toronto, got $250,000 a year as an American receiver. Is he in that 250?
Yep.
You think he
I'd
is?
give him between 225 and 250.
Okay.
I think Ellingson was 225, right? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Ooh,
It's a healthy paycheck,
that's a lot
but
of cake.
keep in mind, like Nauman is also a guy who's a free agent. Would you want him back?
For the right price.
And the
Well, that's
price
just it. I mean,
being...
you've only got so many dollars to go around.
It's
right?
not going to be what he was making in
That's
his
true,
last
Matty.
contract.
Do you think you can convince him to take a pay cut?
It'll depend. It's obvious that he's going to go to the market,
and
so
see what the hell's out there. That being said, with the receiver position, Corey Watson's a free agent. Manny Arsenault's a free agent.
Neither
Corey
of those are
Watson
coming back.
retired, to be specific.
neither
but-
of those are
And
coming
Manny's-
back.
But I mean, Shaq, Nauman, like Kyron Moore's actually the only regular starting receiver that we're bringing back right now. I think we have to start getting a little bit
Well, these
out
young
there
guys are
with the
going to have to
wallet.
step up too.
true. Yeah, and we've got some very promising ones. But do you want to bank on them in a hosting the Grey Cup type year?
No, Shaq's a priority.
Shaq
he has
is.
to be. Him and
they got to sell it though. I mean, you're
him and
hosting the Grey
Fajardo
Cup.
have
You're
a-
in the Grey. If you're in the Grey Cup in Regina, it's going to be the best thing you've ever been a part of. So I mean, that's got to be worth something on a 1-year deal in my mind. Like,
How do you make Jason Maw's system work when you've not given him enough weapons to throw the ball to?
oh,
Cody can play quarterback, shoot the lights out, everything else. But if he's throwing to bums who can't get open or guys who don't know the routes, it makes a big difference. And it's only dialed up pressure-wise when you're hosting the Grey Cup.
oh, could you imagine if we got off to an 0-4 start? Oof.
I have faith in O'David. Yeah, that's exactly what it would be.
That's exactly.
And then
what
add the explosion and tire fire after that.
Well, I think we could survive an 0-4, but we want to host.
Yeah.
Hosting Grey Cup, hosting a playoff game, that's a big difference bottom line. So,
But you
If
don't
it-
want to sell the farm like we did in 2013, though.
no, true. But
Bullshit. I do. I'll take 3. It's a 1-year league. It's a 1-year league.
you think there's enough turnover you could...
So you'd have one bad year, and then you'd be competitive.
So
don't-
who
I
do
don't
you
think
go,
there's
who do you
enough-
go out? Who's available, and who do you go get that puts us over the top? then?
Well, me
That's
personally...
the thing. I don't know if it's there right now, but you just do it. I mean, if you got to give up, a
If
couple-
there's some way that we can bring in Darrell Walker, Kyron Moore, and Shaq, plus a few young guys, I'm pretty... And we got Williams Lambert, too.
yeah.
I think that makes for a scary lineup. So
I don't know if Walker
500 on receivers.
give Darrell
though?
Walker a $200,000 a year contract.
is he a free agent.
Yeah,
Straight cash, homie.
but 1 year. We only want you for the Grey Cup. He's no spring chicken. Good enough. Use him and lose him. You want to commit to a guy like Shaq longer term? I get it. But Darrell Walker's a better receiver than Norman Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you're going to pay Norman $150, I'd rather pay Darrell Walker $200 and just say, hey, he knows Jason Maw's system.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Put him out there, Shaq out there, Kyron Moore out there.
Yeah.
You know, McInnes is probably poised to go in, right?
Yep.
Like Linnaeus, they've got guys who are also chomping at the bit to get on the field. But if you got 3 big name studs like that, Maw's system should work. So
yeah, we got to remember that we're not going into a McAdoo year.
Yeah.
We're going to have some numbers.
Macca do nothing.
The back don't.
That also being said, we talked about Elamimian. I hope somehow, some way we can get him back. That's a big difference maker for us. I think we've got a Micah Tights. We had a couple other guys that could maybe fill in for Moncrief and come along. So the other one is the D line. I know we got AC Leonard. We got Charleston, right? Zach Evans, Micah Johnson. He's the highest paid player in the league last year, $250K a year.
Defensive
What do you have?
player.
3 sacks?
Beast, though.
It was a huge letdown on production numbers.
Yeah,
now,
but
I
just
don't know what he
numbers,
graded
though.
out game
Yeah,
to
it's
game.
more than just stats, right?
Yeah, I
But-
think he graded out good.
Yeah.
I thought he played well. Yes, he maybe didn't have the numbers, but
So
the other guys did on the line.
he-
so somebody
he
was
opened up
eating,
some
right?
opportunities
The
for other
the
people.
line isn't one guy. So if the line has the numbers, then regardless if one individual does or does not have it, the line has
Because you won't have the numbers if the other guys aren't playing well.
fair
Exactly.
enough. Do you think Micah Johnson, though, at $250K is maybe as much as he does maybe open up these other guys, like you're saying? Not going to dispute that.
I think you can get him for less than what you got him in the last contract because
God, I
of
would
the
hope
lack
so.
of numbers.
Is he going to hold his lack of numbers against you?
I don't think he'd want to go somewhere else based on.
Well, it'll depend
He
if
reminds me a
pays him.
lot of the Derek Dennis situation where he brought him in and it just
in,
didn't
yeah.
quite click.
Mm,
No, I disagree with that.
yeah, I disagree too. I think it's different.
Yeah.
I see where you're going, but
I think it's more of a
yeah,
system thing
He
than-
really
So-
performed much better than his numbers.
Yeah.
Indicated.
Well, and I'm a big fan of Dylan Wynn from Hamilton.
Yeah.
And I kind of think he's a little younger. And if the money's comparable,
Isn't he still work? Didn't he sign an NFL deal?
no.
No?
Very close to it. But he might be a guy that maybe you can get a little more production out of. But I mean, he's also younger. Not saying it's possible.
Well, we're talking about this contract year. Do we go after Willie? Or I mean, Grey Cup year. Do we go after Willie?
I think he's NFL or Winnipeg. There's only two options.
He said he'd like to play again in Winnipeg. That's his preference.
I think he'll go
But
wherever who
if
pays
Willie
him.
doesn't make an NFL deal happen soon, every team in the league is going to talk to his agent. Tell me what team wouldn't talk to him.
Oh, you'd be stupid. But I mean, he's going to be asking
And he'll take
275 to
well,
be
250 for sure, right? I mean,
minimum.
yeah.
I'd
He's
give
probably
him
worth it,
250 over
But
Mika,
do
absolutely.
you bring in
But
Willie?
he's another end, though. Like,
Yeah, with AC Leonard, Geeter actually looked good.
so you can't
In
replace
spot
Micah
duty?
with him. That's the problem,
Right.
right?
It's not an apple for an apple. So I don't know that we would get Willie mostly because
What a
we don't have
rotation,
the
though.
need.
What a rotation.
Yeah, but you still have somebody in the middle to eat up that space, or those guys don't get to do nothing.
Well, and it's like baseball when you spend it all on pitching. Only one guy's on the mound. You need other pieces, right?
Well,
So
in baseball, pitching can go a long way, though.
it can, but I mean, with Willie and like you said, it would be a fantastic rotation. But you
Do they
also have
wanna-
to
do they
realize
wanna
that,
do that?
Geeter and or Hughes and or Willie and or Leonard, one of those guys is, if not two, are sitting on the bench,
Yeah.
which gets expensive. So I don't know that he would actually come here. The need isn't great enough to pay that kind of money. So me personally, if we don't get Micah back, I would like to see us take a run at Dylan Wynn. It might be the same money, but I think he's got way more upside. Micah peaked. Not saying he's not good, but he ain't a 250 guy. Also, having said that, We have a halfback position that's open. We've got Purefoy back, but Ed Gainey. What's 30-year-old Ed Gainey worth? Good player, fan
I'd really
favorite.
like to have Eddie back.
Is it really?
Smart guy, lots of leadership.
It's just so hard not to bring him back in the Grey Cup year. Like, we can't be trying to find somebody that can play the position.
Yes.
We need people that can play the position, be effective, know the
Well,
system.
you want to keep some continuity.
Yeah, especially going into this year.
Well, and they provide leadership too.
Yeah.
Those older guys.
Is Ed Gainey, based on numbers, he's not putting up the numbers he did of 2 years ago. But I mean, at 30, he's not done.
Were we not a Grey Cup team this year, though, arguably?
Arguably, yes.
So,
Do
do we need to change a lot? I don't think so.
No, but is his money lining up to what the team has kind of slotted? Purefoy got a raise. You know he did. Nick Marshall probably got a raise too. So are they just a little
I
short
wouldn't
on
necessarily
money?
say Nick Marshall got a raise.
Well, he was at the league minimum. He's on a rookie deal.
Was that still his rookie deal?
Yeah, he's only 2 years in the league.
And then he probably got a little bit of a raise.
Sure talks like he's been in the league for 20 years.
Well, I just want to see him walk the walk, not talk the talk.
Our biggest problem in the playoffs were we could not stop Strevler.
Well,
And we
that's
don't have
where
to worry
maybe-
about him next year.
Yeah, exactly.
So looking at that
Look
list,
out, Arizona's
isn't-
running. I'm going to put a futures bet on Arizona for next year.
What? That their future is going to suck?
Well, they got Stravler. They're going to win it all.
Not a Strevler fan. Hey, we
Well,
got the
I was
vision
telling
between
Kyle
the Kyles
before-
here.
Before the
all
podcast, I said I was telling my 8-year-old boy before 13-year-old boy before I came
Haven't
over
been
here.
around much, Matt? Or?
Jesus.
Anyway,
said-
you were saying?
I said Stravler's got released by Winnipeg to go sign with Arizona. He says, as a quarterback.
That's about it. But I don't know. We did the comparison like to Taysom Hill.
He's not Taysom Hill.
Okay, hold on. Time out. Okay?
Timeout
So
tidbit.
Small
he's not as good of a football player probably as Taysom Hill, and I would totally
Or
agree
an
with you on
athlete.
that. Well, here's the thing. Athletically, I looked up their 40 times from the combine. Both of them ran a 4.5. Both of them are about 6'2", 220. Physically, they're pretty close. Taysom Hill's accuracy in college wasn't a whole lot different than Strevler's. The difference is I think he's a lot more of a fluid athlete, Taysom Hill. So him playing a receiver position and running a route isn't going to look like a fucking robot. Right?
Ed Stravler can
Right?
party.
Fair
Oh,
enough.
can he
But
party.
And that's got to count for something,
and
right?
I'm sure he can do the Carlton
Especially in
dance.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, they athletically on paper, they do look a lot alike. But when you put the tape on, that's when the difference shows up. Strevler's,
suck,
That's the,
jackass.
that's the only
Strevler's more of a
important thing
bull.
to me is the tape.
When Strevler ran last year, it wasn't shake and bake.
No, it was just run you over.
Right. Just be big
Straight
and mean.
ahead.
Just be big and mean. Taysom Hill's a little more of a finesse player. And his versatility, I think, is there because he's a little more of a fluid athlete. You don't give a
Sure,
shit.
enough about
You're
an
not a
ex-bomber.
Saints fan?
I
What's your NFL team, by the
I
way?
don't really have an NFL team.
Holy, whoever's winning, hey?
I was an Indy fan back when Peyton was there.
At your size, you shouldn't be jumping off bandwagons
Oh, I don't break my ankle.
or more. Dude, as I get older, I have to, my kids are like, you're so grumpy. You just think there's only one thing and that's it. Well, I can't jump off bandwagons.
Like, I don't have a team, but it's just like
He's
I wanna
loyal.
I want to see
This
Brady
dude's
win.
loyal.
I want to see Brady win.
My dog hunts, but I stick with one dog.
I like prop bets.
Prop bets. You the gambler?
Maybe a little.
Well, next show
Not a
you
good
come.
one. Not a
Next
good
show
one.
you come on. You
cash,
grow
homie.
out that Kenny Rogers beard. You
Right.
can be the gambler.
As long as I get into
Since we got
music,
one cow with a beard, we need another cow with a beard.
I'll grow a mustache.
Maybe we'll
Mustachio.
find you. Maybe we'll find you a Dolly Parton
Oof,
or a J Lo.
not bad.
Not bad. Okay, so having said all that, I don't think we're getting Bladdock back. I'd love to, but I don't think we are. We do probably need a backup / starting quality, potentially lineman to have, at least for the interior. I don't think Vladek is back, and I think it's because Shepley took his spot. Clark, center, Labatt, guard. Obviously, Cofield.
They'll draft a couple guys, for sure.
Well, if they draft one and he's as good as Shepley is and
Took
shows up.
Shepley 2 years or 3 years to get here? 2 years?
Well, 1 year to get here, but 1 year to be a player too.
Right.
So, that being said, I like Ryan Bombin, who got released by the Argos, who was an all-star 2 years ago, but he's a little older. He's in the 30-plus range. But he's a Canadian.
Great
he's an
Cup year.
interior guy.
It's 1 year.
I think if you have to overspend on a backup, we knew we needed our backups last year. Typically, you're not going to go the whole year with the same starting lineup. But he's a quality player, probably comparable, if not maybe a little better than Vladek, and he can slot in a tackle. And they cut him over a $10,000 bonus that was due February 1st. If you have a guy who's an all-star on your team, do you cut him over $10K? Unless he sucks, like he just suddenly sucks.
It's a CFL. We have razor-thin margins,
Fucking
right?
$10K.
I just think it's horse shit that they can cut them and not give them their bonuses. Like, come on.
Well,
CFLPA, you better get your shit together.
No
That's
kidding.
an agent negotiating a contract where that's even in it.
Yeah, front load that.
Like,
Absolutely.
put that 10K into something. Like, I don't know. I thought February 1. What a stupid
negotiate
day.
me something better than an excuse for a team to cut me, right?
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe the agents aren't what we're thinking they should be comparably to like a NFL agent. They're not Drew Rosenhaus or Lee Steinberg, but still, I mean, 10K? Could you imagine us cutting Brandon Labatt over a $10,000 roster bonus? And if you do, what are your odds of getting him back?
0.
Like, when my phone rings and I'm Brandon Labatt, if I got cut in that situation, and it's Jeremy O'Day that comes up, what part of fuck off do I have to spell for you? Not? Or make it up to me. Give me a 20K extra in signing bonus on this deal.
Yeah. That 10K is going to cost you 40K if you want me back.
Yeah. I think that whole over that amount of money, like if it was 40, 50K, okay, I can understand.
Like you can't sign a second or third year player that's not too hot for 10K less, that they're asking for. So
Right.
Make it up.
So the other one is Thiggy, returner, 34.
God, isn't he like 36 by now?
Wow, old as dirt, as old as Kyle. Pick one.
I'm just all on this.
I don't think we get Thiggy back.
I don't know that we want him back.
He didn't do much this year as the year before.
You can't tell me you can't go find somebody that can catch a ball and run it.
And run like a crazy person.
Yeah,
There's got to be some kid running around
yeah.
some park
And I've
somewhere.
always been a firm believer that once a returner gets paid, he loses his edge. You got to have a certain amount of fucking crazy.
I would love to return
to just
one ball,
charge
just get
into the
destroyed.
wall of people that are coming at you looking to rip your head off. You got to be missing a little bit. You got to have an edge. So once
agree.
you get paid, you make business decisions. So, maybe they just don't work out on a second contract. Well, at 34, I don't think Thiggy's getting crazier.
No. I just don't think that's a position where you need to overspend based on.
Yeah,
It's more your
potentially Purifoy
scheme.
could take that returner job away too.
Give me somebody that's going to catch the ball every time, and spend your money on offense. I don't give a shit if we start at the 5-yard line every time. If we have an offense that can move the ball, just catch the ball. Don't fumble, fuck it into the ground, and turn it over.
Where's Corey Holmes?
Yeah.
That's all we need. Corey Holmes,
Tristan Jackson.
Tristan Jackson,
T-Jack.
He's probably still on the rigs somewhere.
Did love T-Jack.
making his money. He was crazy though.
Got to get paid.
Like not in
Making
the
way
bad
more
way.
money
Like,
than
he just a
CFL.
little bit.
He was awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of guys on specials, John Ryan.
He's not
hosting a Grey Cup.
He's not giving us the hometown special.
If he doesn't do that, I say see you later.
You're not going to be a homer on that one?
No, I mean...
He was an all-star.
I will almost guarantee he's our kicker next year.
I don't want to pay a punter $100,000 in a Grey Cup a year.
That's why he will be on this team next year.
I think you wait till free agency's over because he's not going anywhere else. He'll be a rider.
I agree. He's a done or a rider.
Right. So why not wait till the dust settles from free agency and say, hey, okay, I can maybe give you 100 because I got lots of money left. What if I only got 70? I can give you 70.
Because it's about
maybe he'll take
him.
70. I don't know. Maybe I'm not saying he won't take a hometown discount, but I mean, John Ryan is a local legend who probably wants to play in a Grey Cup for his hometown team
And win it. That's what I think.
Yeah.
The
So
opportunity
is
to win
it
a
really
Grey Cup
money?
with the Riders.
It was last year, though.
Well, do you remember when he came here?
last year because it had to do with money.
He says, well, it's not about the money. They said, well, why haven't you signed yet? He said, well, it's kind of about the money.
Exactly.
Wait till the dust settles and maybe they can understand what kind of money they can give him. I don't think if you're Jeremy O'Day, the first thing you go out and spend money on is a punter.
That's not priority one.
Right. So wait till the dust settles. He's not going anywhere else. Sign him. See what you can get him
If
for.
we didn't host the Grey Cup, yeah, he might go somewhere else. But because we're hosting the Grey Cup, it's here or nothing.
What a story to come in, play for your hometown team,
Win the Grey Cup and leave.
win the Grey Cup, and park it. It's done.
Yep.
What more would you want? No one's going to give a shit what you made that year, including you.
No, not in 10 years, but right now. That's like saying,
Yeah, but he's
hey,
going to
do you
have
wanna
a
come to
job in
work
this
for
community some way, somehow.
X amount of dollars because we're going to win a prize.
Being a Grey Cup champ here, having that ring to go with your NFL Super
That makes you
Bowl
more
ring.
money than that
After a
100
Super
grand.
Bowl
No, I'm
champion,
not
do you
trying to
care?
compare them, though.
Do you care?
No,
I'm
but
just-
yeah, John will
just
tell
saying.
you he grew up wanting to be
did
a
he win
rider
one?
and live in the
Yeah,
Grey
he
Cup.
wanted to be a rider. And I
Absolutely.
mean,
And he was. So I don't know.
but getting that ring.
He would be a hero, but I don't know if that's enough for him. Just based on last year.
If coming back here and making $20K different from last year's deal is the be all and end all for him, go to fucking Toronto then. Go to BC. Hosting, being in the Grey Cup, home stadium, all your friends and family, lifelong Rider fan. I just think they got to wait till the dust settles and then figure out what they got left as to what they can offer him. He's got to understand as a punter, he's not a priority free
Yeah,
agent.
certainly on the priority chain,
Right?
we wouldn't be way up there now.
In terms of hierarchy, he's not at the top. He's probably not at the middle with
Oh,
free
no,
agency
definitely not,
approaching.
no.
So
Sign 1
Anybody
week
can
into
punt.
camp.
And
1 week into
truthfully,
camp.
he wasn't great.
He's like you, no warm-ups?
No, he doesn't need warm up.
Sign me 10 minutes before kickoff.
Keep that leg stretched.
Done. Anyway, any other areas you guys think that they need to target to improve? I'd like to see the interior D-line
Yeah.
and a linebacker.
I don't necessarily think that they need to improve the interior of the D-line, just that they might have to do it with different personnel.
I'm a little concerned over our linebacker situation.
That's a little scary.
Every week when you'd see that depth chart come out and there's like 13 fucking linebackers listed, you're like, okay, great, but nobody else played really other than those three, right? Sam Hurl for a cup of tea here or there. So just because you don't know their name doesn't mean they're no good, but something to be said about Solomon Aluminium and Cam Judge lining up starting for us in a Grey Cup push type year.
It's a tough year to put somebody in that you don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Or have him figure it out as he goes.
And that's a pretty important position.
That's
to
the captain
be.
of your defense. Yeah. So, yeah, they might be different personnel, though. Micah might not be somebody they look at bringing back for whatever reason. But me personally, I think they have to make sure they address the receiver position. There's just too many free agents. There's too much youth outside of the free agents we're going to lose. I'm not saying you have to bring them all back because they're old and reliable, but you do need some semblance of a core intact and weapons that are known entities in order to take Jason Maas's new offense and execute it well.
I think based on our quarterback play last year, our new offensive coordinator, there's going to be hosting a Grey Cup. There's going to be a little bit of, I want to go play there. I want to be there. Like, if you're a receiver that's, like a drill walker, it's like, where do I want to go with it? I think I don't think we have to worry about receivers because I think we're going to get something.
You think we'll be able to sign?
I think we'll be okay there.
Yeah, I have faith in J.O.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hasn't let us down to this point. He's always seemingly found somebody who can play or made the deals that matter to get the right guys back.
He knows how important this year is.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to reiterate the point with him. So I personally would like to see not just Shaq, but I'd like to see Darrell Walker, Williams, Lambert, and Moore as our main 4 guys. We'll need a 5th and 6th receiver.
McInnes could be the 5th.
But that's what you drafted for last year. You have 2 guys you drafted high. They have to get some opportunities to play. It stunts development if they don't play.
Yeah,
and they're
I agree.
mismatches. Well, what are they both like 6'4"?
6'5". They're both
6'5"?
6'5", yeah.
So
Both about 220.
Can't teach height.
no, you can't teach big. Can't teach big. That's what I tell her. Anyway,
That was a pretty good episode.
you like that?
Not bad.
Thanks
Giving
for
you-
coming on, Kyle.
Thanks for having me.
Greatly appreciated.
Anytime.
Did you have a good time?
I did. Other than having to listen to Heath talk.
Well,
Holy
he does most of the
shit.
talking, so we kind of need him for the show.
Center of attention.
Sounds
Loves
like a contract negotiation right there.
Yeah, I will double your salary.
Fuck yeah. Straight cash, homie. That's your cue, Matty.
Yeah.
Straight cash, homie.
There you go. Thanks, buddy.
Anyways, this has been episode 8 of the Above Average Joe's podcast. I'm Kyle,
I'm Heath.
and he's Kyle, and we'll catch you next time.
Matty in the bunker.
And Maddie in the bunker.
How you doing?
Laters.
Laters.